Hey, good morning and welcome back to the channel. This is Jared from 3C's Recreation and I got Braxton behind the camera. Today we are going to adjust the rear brake pedal on a Beta motorcycle. This one happens to be a 2023 300 two-stroke. This is the same process for two-stroke or four-stroke, so no matter what you have, easy to do. So right now we're going to do a stock adjustment the way it is, show you what we can do for movement and how high or low can we go with it. And then a lot of you folks are calling and asking like, what can we do to increase the movement range? So I brought in off the Beta website, they have the Fasst way, it's a billet piece. We're going to install this, and if you guys want one, we can ship it to you, which is cool, so call us for orders. So if you come in, Braxton, and I also want to know if this billet piece is going to take away some of this free play. So if we kind of zoom in here a little bit, and I shake this, so all of this movement just happened, but we did not even touch the actual brake yet. So all of this happened, and then we get to the brake. So all of our race bikes, we've never tinkered with this. We've always left it stock, but with our channel growing and with you guys supporting us, we brought in the billet piece. So let's check it out. First thing we'll do is stock brake adjustment. So this is just a fork tool, and I'm going to lay it flat on the foot peg, and just know that the middle of this foot peg has higher spikes. So you can't go in the middle, you either got to go in the way front or the way back of it. So if I go in the way back where it's flat, you can see how much higher the brake tip is than the tool here. And for me, I'm a taller rider, I don't want that. I want the brake tip lower because my legs are longer, so my feet are naturally pointed down more. And to do this, it's pretty simple. Back here, we have a jam nut, so it's a 12 millimeter. So we're just going to loosen this jam nut first, crack the jam nut. And in theory, what I need to do for lowering this is to screw this in more so it brings this up. And if you look up underneath this booty here, you can, if I slide this rubber boot up, there's a 10 mil under here. That's what that's what we're going to turn. I don't need to have this in there to do it, just to show you guys. So if I turn this in, I keep screwing it in, it's going to raise this, and it's lower, and you can see. Let me get a good grab, and then watch over here. It lowers it. See how much lower it just took it, which is really cool. And I'm going to keep going with that. And at some point, it's going to get a little bit tougher because you're going to have to get like a pretty skinny tool, skinnier than this even, because there's not a lot of room. It's not a solid, like a big 10 millimeter in there. So you're going to run out of room to get in there with it. So let's see if we can get a couple more bites in here. So Braxton just found in our toolbox, we got a really skinny 10. If I hold up the one we were using, it's pretty thick. And so what we're running into is that our jam nut, as we raise this up, there isn't a lot of room to get in here and do this 10. So this is really nice. I'm glad you found it. So if I keep going, you can see how low we're taking that brake pedal up there. So even with the stock, you have a lot of adjustment actually. So now if I stop there and we just tighten our jam nut down, which doesn't need to really happen because it's pretty much bottomed out on it. We'll fix our little booty so it's protecting it. And I bring our same tool back in. There is a ton of adjustment that just happened there. So before, this brake tip was even higher than the tool was, and now it is well below it. So it is well below the foot peg, might be even a little bit too low. I don't know if I would run it quite that low. But if you're like just in stock form, your Beta motorcycle should have a ton of room to go down with it. And we can go the other way just for the purpose of the video. We'll show you going up how high we can raise this. So let's try that next. This is about as high as I would go with it. We could tighten our jam nut down and we could keep it there for if we were going to actually ride with it. So we could tighten it down, but look how high we actually went with that. So there's a ton of adjustment with these. It's well above my tool now, and before we were below. So there's almost like an inch of gain or loss, whatever you want to have, in this rear brake. So what we're going to do now is we're going to continue to unscrew this. And if we look behind here, turn the camera the right way, there is a pin behind here. We got to undo this first, cotter pin. We'll get that out of the way, and then we'll pull this out, and we'll unthread this all the way off, and we'll change this out. So you got the old clasp out, and this is the old pin that goes through. And if we set it through there, that's not where really all the free play was. It's actually pretty tight there. If we come down here and we look at the bike, there was a ton of free play down here. So let me bring you guys in closer. This is where a lot of that free play was, right there up and down. So let's get this new one opened up. Again, this is that Fasst way. Get you guys adjusted right, sorry. So this is that new one, and we'll pop her out. Pretty simple to do. It's cool looking, even if it doesn't make it maybe better, it's still really cool to look at. And we'll get this cotter pin out and we're gonna save it. And so you can tell there's zero free play on this one. Like, this is super tight. And if we compare it to this other stock pin, ooh, it is bigger. It is quite a bit bigger there. So now let's bring it down here. And if we slide this in, oh my gosh, it's gone. Like, all that free play is completely gone. So this might actually be a big seller now that we've got one and we've played with it. So let's get this thing built. I'm not going to put the cotter pin on because it's not going to stay on this bike. We're going to put this bike back to stock for the showroom. So we're gonna screw this up on, and then we'll slide this in and we'll see what we have for play. So right away, all we've done is push this in. We haven't tightened the jam nut down at all. And look how tight that is. There's zero free play. So immediately, as soon as you touch that brake pedal, all of your movement is being used. So for 60 bucks to get one of these Fasst way brake Clevises, you can either get them in black, red, or blue. So you can kind of color match to your bike if you want to. But I think the last thing we'll do is let's see how low we can go with this to get that brake pedal down in the front. That's going to be the main thing that we're doing here. Not only did we take away a lot of the free play, let's see how far we can take this brake pedal down now. So here we go. We've got this tightened all the way up. So we've left our jam nut in there. We've tightened this all the way down. So that's screwed in as far as it would go, which means we've pushed our brake tip down. And if we look here, and hopefully the camera angle is similar to where we had it before, but the tool does all the work anyway. So it hits it a little bit. So it's not going quite as low as the stock clasp goes. So we're not getting quite the range. I still think that's plenty good for all of us moto guys. In fact, like all of my bikes, I typically don't even adjust this. So wherever factory sets them is where I usually just ride the bike. So not quite as low there. And in the back, I probably would not recommend removing the jam nut. Some guys might say, well, if you take the jam nut out, you could thread this in further and get it further down in the front. Either maybe get a thinner jam nut. I still like having that in there. And I think if you unscrewed it all the way, this bolt would actually screw all the way through the middle of the piece and into the actual brake lever itself. So this is about as much adjustment as this has to go down. Thanks for tuning in. This is just a really quick video on the new Fasst way clasp. Really enjoy it. I think all of our race bikes are going to get it. If you guys are interested in beta parts, give us a call. If you found the video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. We would appreciate it. Enjoy the ride.